Hello and welcome to Autosport Design. I'm GT Joey. Today we have this beautiful 1996 Jaguar XJ-6 V.D.P long wheelbase. In 1996, they started extending the roof by 2 inches and the length by 7 inches, and this was the top of the line back in the day. This was one of my own personal cars that I traded in, and it just has a tick over 69,000 original miles. We put new tires, brakes, shocks, belts, coil packs. Just a wonderful, wonderful car in Jade Green with oatmealish interior and inlaid wood. It's just a beautiful piece of machinery and really a modern day classic in today's world. So if you wanted to get into something like this and you don't want the hassles of an older car and you want to enjoy it for a weekend drive or even to work, as I did every day for close to a year, these are just wonderful, wonderful machines. Once Ford got their hands on these and put in the 4.0 liter fuel injection and all the rest, you could drive these cars endless with very, very minimal service work. The optional wheels with the V.D.P, the optional picnic tables. Come on inside, let's take it for a ride, and we'll look at everything. When you get inside the V.D.P, it's absolutely beautiful. The wood steering wheel was a part of the package. All the inlaid wood was part of the package for the V.D.P, even including the wooden shift knob and even up top for the center console. That was only in the V.D.P, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful option in the car. This was the top of the line back in the day. And they called this a Jaguar when I knew everybody back then, and I've had all these cars when they were new. Okay, they called this the Queen Mary. This was the top of the line. You had the raised roof in 96. You had the longer wheelbase for another 7 inches in the rear. And it's just a very, very comfortable car to drive. Come on, let's start it up. It's got the X300 motor. Starts right up. And that's what's nice with these cars, you know, Jack. What you're doing is you have the look of an old Jag, but it's modern. This car is going to be 30 years old. And look at it. Everything works, and we have a surprise for you. Whoever purchases the car, the radio has Bluetooth, wireless Bluetooth installed in it. So you still have the CD player in the back and all that. But by today's standards, you could have the navigation, you could have Sirius radio all through the radio. I did most of the work myself. You put it in gear, 4 forward gears. You have sport mode, you have normal mode if you want to pick it up a little bit more in sport, and away you go. Old-fashioned, original analog gauges, nothing digital whatsoever. And now we take it for a ride. The car is just absolutely beautiful. So, I started with these cars back in 95. I actually had them when they were the XJ40s. These cars were tremendous, tremendous improvements over the XJ40s. This is when Ford really put all the money into them. And this is what really brought Jag back from the brink. The quality just went through the roof. And on these 95 through 97s, which this is a 96, with the last of the straight 6 motors before they went to the modular V8 from Ford, these things are bulletproof, up to 250, 300,000 miles. Now, for you Jaguar geeks out there, which I know there are many that are looking at this car, I run straight 20 W50 all year round, unless it's very, very cold out. Then I go 1040 just to lean it out with the straight 6 to make it start a little faster. No blow-by on these. The thing idles like a kitten, 650, 700 all day long. And even with the crazy New York traffic, when people cut you off, you have 4-wheel disc brakes, traction control in 1996, and it just goes on and on forever. There's only 69,303 on the car. By the way, I redid the tracks on the sunroof, and they're all greased up, which was a common issue back in the day. Brand new shocks, rotors, brake pads, flushed all the fluids, transmission, rear end, and new fuel filters in the rear. So everything is good to go. And AC, heat, you want to take a peekaboo, okay? AC, ice cold. You want to go heat, Old school, you hit the numbers, and then we're up to 88, 89 degrees. You want to bring it back down. I wish somebody would make a simple car like this again so you're not distracted. Turn it on, turn it off. It's going to be a nice day today. It's going to be somewhere in the 50s. Remember, this is a V.D.P. So the V.D.P came with lamb's wool rugs, which are in the boot, and they're all in plastic because once winter hits, I never used them in the winter. The wooden steering wheel is just gorgeous. You have automatic releases for all the doors. This was the first year if we could get a zoom in on the key fob. Remember, now you had central locking systems in the car. You had safety lock for the brake. So you have to hit the pedal to turn the key on, and you could go in normal mode or sport mode, which we'll show in a minute, but we're near the school, okay? Another feature with this Jag, if you look at first year with cup holders, 1995, 1996, and it's not broken. And it didn't even need to fix. Even the spring load for the ashtray, for all the geeks, you know that could have been a problem. About 2-3 years ago, headliner was completely replaced. They used to sag, the glue would dry. So, you have a new headliner, you have the cup holder that works, the ashtray that works, you have the auto dim that works as well. These were all big deals back in the day in 1996. Okay, we're gonna go on some B roads now and open it up a little bit, see what we can do. If we look again, look at the quality. They were keeping up with Bentley and Rolls at the time. And you gotta remember, in 95, 96, 97, Bentley and Rolls were dragging on with the old shadows, and they look so dated and antiquated. Look at the triple colors. You have the darker green, you have the lighter green, and then you have the tan on the inserts. So it's just a three-tone interior, and it works. And when you put it up against the roof line, the piping was even different. You basically had a Rolls-Royce kind of look, but in a Jag, and instead of paying, at that time, $189,000 for the Rolls or Bentley, you were paying about $89,000 to $110,000 if you purchased the V12. So we take it out to B road number 1. Shifts at 2,100 RPM, 50 miles an hour, and we're off. 60 miles an hour, and it drops down to 2,000 RPM. And we got there in what, 4, 5, 6 seconds. And when we take the second B road, we're gonna do it at the sport mode, which everything works fine. And when you put it in sport mode, on the dash, you'll see sport. What is sport mode doing? It's basically upticking the shifts, letting it rev a little higher so you could jump off the line. But this is a touring car, but you have the options. What made this car really great was they brought back the design with the round headlights, the curved back once again, and it's just a beautiful car. If we look back down on the console, which you could do, but I can't, okay? Besides that, you have rear defrost, front defrost, all the ventilation. We also have heated seats, that was the beginning of heated seats. And in the rear seats are heated as well. So you have rear and front heated seats. You have the second parcel in the back. You have the map lights in the back. It's really spacious in the back. Okay, so now we're making the turn. We're going to B road number 2, which is a little bit more country road. And what we're going to do is, that's normal mode. We're going to shift it into sport mode. Now, it goes to 3,000, 3,100, 3,500, and we're at 50. And now it dumps down to 2,200 at 60. And if I hit it again, we can't tell you what the speeds are. But we're going a lot faster. Feels good. Feels really good. My first XJ-6 95 had a very early one of X300s. I put on 136,000 miles in 4 years from new when I was working at that time, and you could not kill the car. And the paint and the quality on these, Ford wanted to prove a point. Their point was, we want to show quality back at Jaguar once again, and they did. The paint on this car, it's almost 30 years old, and it looks like a jewel. And of course, when we look down the bonnet, you see that leaper. Bringing that leaper back brought you back to Series 3 XJ6s, or the old days like my other car, which some of you might know as my Mark II. And it brings back class. And when you're driving, these are New York, Long Island roads. We're not bouncing all over the place because it's as smooth and as soft as can be. So this little thing is a miracle. I know we fight them every single day, but you could listen to your AM FM radio, which there's really nothing on there. Or you could have your Sirius. The way life should be. No static. You could adjust the volume up or down. There's 8 speakers in this car, by the way, and you could change any stations, do whatever you want. You could even do navigation. You could do anything you'd like. Instructions, mapping, anything. And it all goes through the Bluetooth. Now, the person before me, when he had the car, which, by the way, there's more than extensive paperwork on this car. All the brochures, all the sales stuff, all the early paint chip books, everything and all the options. But he spent over $750 on this car. $750 just to rewire that original radio so it didn't look bad and play Bluetooth. Okay? There's still the CD changer in the back. Who would use it? I don't know. You could also disconnect the original antenna that's still working perfect if you don't want the antenna anymore, just so you have the Bluetooth so nobody could bend it or anything kinks or it gets dirty, okay? Which is a simple process. So we're gonna do 1 or 2 flybys and then we're gonna call it a day, bring it back to the shop. Now I want to thank my young co-pilot, Jack. I don't know if he's getting it with the music in this car. He's a little young. But for the guy that's looking for this car, you'll understand. Just a beautiful piece of machinery. The wood, the leather. Oh, and by the way, this is the last of the Jags. Every piece of this wood is numbered and matched to this car. If we turn around again and look at the wood grain from the tree, it's one piece. It's not all separate stuff. From the center console to the sides, to the master in the front, even up top. So it's from the same tree. They took out all the blems and then took the best of the best and made all one piece. So if you looked up this VIN number and went back to Jaguar Heritage, they would show you the tree, the part number and all that, in case, God forbid, there was a fire, an accident, something like that. Back in the day, if it had to be fixed. Kind of like what they do with Aston Martin with Connolly leather. This is the last of it, and they'll just never make anything like this again. For the money, and what you're gonna get, this is a wonderful, wonderful car. Power mirrors, by the way, as well. Pulse wipers, single wiper. Just a beautiful car, and mirrors for all to look at my pretty self. But Jack, thank you for doing this with me. I know you have to have patience. I know this is an older man's car, but it is nice. Enjoy.